Hey, what's up out there? David Duford here at davidduford.com, where I help insurance agents like you become top producing insurance professionals. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons of selling insurance. In fact, what I'm going to do is focus on what I think are the 5 biggest pros and the 5 biggest drawbacks. So we're going to start with the pros. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each, kind of some stories involved with describing the benefits of selling insurance with each highlighted point, and then also do the same describing the drawbacks potentially if you decide to get into the insurance business. If you're a brand new agent or considering selling insurance, then this training will be absolutely perfect for you. So let's get started. So I think the biggest benefit of selling insurance is the fact that it gives you the opportunity for freedom. So freedom to me is that I have a complete ability to control my career, to sell the products, the carriers, and to the clients of my choosing. I'm not held hostage to a corporate entity that decides my ability to climb the career ladder based off of whether it's my talent or whether it's my ability to work my way in with the right people. The insurance business gives me the freedom to run my business as I choose. Along with that freedom, of course, comes responsibility, as the old saying goes. You've got to be obviously responsible, meaning go to work, be consistent, go see people, learn how to get better in order to earn that freedom. So I've been doing final expense sales and recruiting agents since 2011 to 2013, still in the business. I get so much more freedom relative to my peers at my age right now that it's just absolutely amazing. And certainly there was a lot of responsibility on my plate when I first started. But now I can afford to have more time with my family as they start to get older. I work from home. I have the ability to help my wife out when she needs me. I'm readily available to take kids to school. And these are all little minor things, but in the scheme of life, they can be very meaningful. And it's the business of selling insurance that allows me to have this kind of freedom. The second here on the list is wealth potential. So let me describe this to you because I think it's worth describing it a little bit differently than what you think. So a lot of people like myself even, I got into this business because I wanted to make money yesterday. That's a good reason to get into this business. But what you realize is there's not just a capacity to earn a living, there's also a capacity to actually develop real wealth. So to me, again, wealth is something that is more correlated with a higher level concept than a dollar amount in the bank. Yeah, you can certainly do that selling insurance, but you get the wealth of owning your own business. You get the wealth of having a fulfilled, wonderful lifestyle. Again, the insurance business, selling insurance, facilitates this process. Like I said earlier, I spend time with my family as I please. I can work hard. I can grow in the directions that I want. I'm not pigeonholed in a particular corporation that I feel trapped in. So this is a level of wealth, again, not necessarily financial. Again, yes, it can provide for that, for sure. But I think there's something more meaningful with the kind of wealth that I'm talking about. Hopefully it makes sense. The insurance business cannot just provide a great income, but it can provide a wealth of lifestyle and a wealth of experience in life. Point number 3 is that the nice thing about insurance is you won't feel dirty actually selling it. You shouldn't, at least, if you sell it the right way. Our insurance products do good things for our clients. Sure, many of our prospects may not want or believe in insurance, but there are some who will. And if the time comes where they have to file a claim, maybe a life claim or an auto accident claim, they're going to be very thankful that you took the time out of your day to approach these prospects and help them solve for their insurance problems. Again, I specialize in the life insurance business, and what I'm able to do is go out there and talk to people, specifically seniors, who want to buy health insurance or life insurance, and give them a product that will solve for that concern. I've been in the business long enough to see actual death claims, and if it wasn't for the good work I put in, then they never probably would have had the coverage in place to protect against, in this case, final expenses. So you can hold your head up actually selling insurance. You should feel confident. You should feel proud of what you do because it's good work. So it's not just a great way to make a living. It's not just a great way to have freedom. When you go out there and you work, you're making a real difference in families' lives, and you should feel strong about that. And the next thing on the list here is that the business is actually kind of boring. And why is that a pro? So let me kind of explain what I mean by that. So the insurance business is not something where it's a brand new frontier, nobody's ever been down or experienced or have been involved in. In fact, the insurance business models I teach, as well as many others, are been around for decades, sometimes longer. And we know what works fairly well across the board. We can't guarantee anybody's success, of course. But my point is that if you're brand new to this business, it's really important you find somebody who understands the importance of having a blueprint, a strategy that you can implement into your own business, and then go out there and duplicate that process. For example, with Final Expense, it's a very straightforward, old, boring concept. You just buy leads, typically direct mail, telemarketing, and now Facebook leads, and you just stop by and see clients, knock the door, and see if you can do an appointment, or call ahead of time and schedule an appointment. It works wonderfully. It's always worked that way. It will continue to work that way unless there's dramatic things that happen out in the real life of where we go through. Again, it's boring from the standpoint that you don't have to come in and be creative. In fact, arguably, creativity is a barrier to having success. What I look for in agents are agents who have a good work ethic, regardless if they're new to the business or have sales experience, and can actually take direction and apply it. Take a plan of action and then actually execute on it. So if you don't mind not having a creative style of job, insurance will be just fine. And last benefit on the list here, this business is great if you're a people person. You have to be a people person, I think, to have long-term success. Why? Because when you sell insurance, you got to deal with people. This really is a relationship business at the end of the day. And that means you've got to be able to enjoy yourself on some level when you help people out who otherwise couldn't help themselves out. You don't have to create friends out of these clients, although some of you will, depending on the type of niche that you sell. And you'll be there for years to help them out when they have questions or concerns or file claims and to help their family. So if you enjoy people, you're going to really like this. If you hate people, probably not a good idea to sell insurance. All right, so that's our pros. Again, freedom, wealth potential, doing good work, tried and true blueprint, and great for people who are people. So now let's talk about cons. Again, it's not all rainbows and sunshine selling insurance, so it's important you know why selling insurance is good and then why it may not be so good. Some reality checks here. So let's get started. First of all, you should expect to have to work years before you have a successful business. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean that you're going to have to eat rice and beans and rice for 5 years before you have a middle or average income. You should be averaging an average income within the first year or two. But for most agents, it takes a number of years before they achieve the kind of incredible success that is definitely possible in this business. As of this recording, I'm approximately 9 years into my business, and every single year I've been in the business, my income grew. But it hasn't really been since the last 2 or 3 years where it's gone exponential, much more than it was even as a beginning agent in the first 5 years. And there were many times, especially early on when I first started, that I doubted myself. Should I be in this business? I could make more doing something else, shouldn't I? Or couldn't I? And my spouse felt the same way too. I'm wasting my time trying to peddle burial insurance to these poor people. And I kept the faith and kept at it and knew that there was something grand and great if I just kept going despite the negativity around me, inside of me, and just continued with the plan. And I did quit at one point, but I got back into the business after I realized working for somebody else wasn't the solution. The solution was fixing me, not the business. So I went back into business, worked hard, made good money, and have built this great agency over the past 5-6 years. And I'm so thankful that I've done it because, again, my life is entirely different. So if you're not somebody who likes to work long hours, if you want to work your 20 or 30 hours a week and be done, unless you have significant experience already selling insurance, expect there to be a lot of adversity. Now, there's nothing wrong starting off on a part-time basis like that and then doing that over a course of 6 to 12 months. That's completely fine. But you should be expecting yourself to work a lot of hours initially, especially in the first couple of years. Over time, the good news is you can start to let off the gas a little bit, live off of renewals, and your skill set's going to be so good that you don't need as many leads and you don't need to conduct as many presentations to close business. Number 2, there is a high failure rate in this business. My friend in the business, Cody Askins, make sure you check out his YouTube channel, has puts on what's called an 8% Wealth Nation conference. And the whole idea behind 8% Wealth Nation is that 8% of the people in the insurance sales business survive after the first year. 92% of them quit. Now, I don't know if that's an exact number, but it's a pretty close. I would say somewhere in the neighborhood of 9 out of 10 insurance agents are out of the business within their first year to 2 years. Now, why is that? Well, there's all sorts of reasons. Poor training, poor marketing, poor work ethic, not what they thought it was, and it's a shame. So the likelihood is 9 out of 10 of you watching this are going to fail out in the first year to 2 years. Now, the question you've got to ask yourself is, okay, you can just say, well, that's not going to be me, but you got to go a step further and say, wow, if the numbers are against me, what steps do I need to take in order to overcome that? Well, that's kind of what we're talking about in this video as we go through the different cons and identifying them. But big things you need to do are get good training, get a great marketing program to get you in front of prospects, work, and just stick to it despite any kind of self-doubt that you get. Number 3, the thing you got to be really concerned with, especially if you haven't really done much in the job hunting category of looking for an insurance sales job, is be aware that a lot of the big brand companies out there that are putting out a lot of ads, that are doing a lot of recruiting, are multi-level marketing culture based. So what do I mean by that? When I say multi-level marketing, I don't mean that they're scams. The vast majority that I've ever seen are not scams. They're organized in such a way, though, where they train agents who are newly recruited to go recruit their friends, families, and repeat the process. This has some consequences on multiple levels. The first consequence is that what business do you have to recruit somebody if you don't know what you're doing actually in the first place? What value can you provide somebody if you don't have any experience selling? So the problem is that it's not so much a problem, it's just a reality, is you depend on your upline, the person recruiting you, to train you more than anything else. And if they can't help you, why should they even think they should earn an override off your commission? So you got to be aware of that. The MLM influence perpetuates a lower quality type of training and level of training, because if instead of focusing on the craft of getting better at selling insurance, these MLMs focus on recruit, which enriches the top and then very commonly impoverishes the bottom. So what's the solution? Do your due diligence. Look at any organization that's out there. If you see hot and heavy talk about recruiting, it's probably not a good place to be. Make sure you check with smaller agencies, something like mine, where we focus more on producing and helping you produce more business as opposed to teaching you how to recruit. Not that that's bad, it just comes over time, not immediately. You need to make sure that you test the values of an agency to see what really matters the most. Again, compare what they say to what they actually do. So related to the MLM issue is that a lot of these agencies that are out there have really poor training modalities. They don't have programs specifically designed to train agents to become top producers. They throw a lot of agents, many of these organizations, to the wolves. Here's your script, here's a carrier, go get them. And there is some value in that. You got to, do it or get off the pot, as the old saying goes. But you do need to know kind of what to expect, kind of know what to say, and kind of know about the carriers before you go out there and do this kind of stuff, at least in my opinion. So training is valuable, not just in the beginning, but also over time. Do you have opportunities for ongoing training calls? Do you have opportunities for ongoing ride-along or field trainings or group trainings? Or do you have a back office website with a ton of training that can help you, again, figure this business out? The more training that you get, the better odds you're going to see success. So make sure that you get that, because your chances of survival, even if you think you know what you're doing, are definitely lower if you don't. Number 5, the buck stops with you. This is the big thing about this. You are now in business as an insurance agent selling insurance. You do not have anybody to blame for your failure or success except yourself. Now, for some of you out there, this is a great thing. It is for me personally. Great. It's up to me to achieve what I want to. So it's all comes down to me. I love holding responsibility. It makes me feel like a better person, and it empowers me to take massive action. But for others, the idea of basically being responsible for yourself and responsible for your outcomes is a scary concept. There's nobody literally to blame but you. And the truth is that if you blame anybody else for your shortcomings or failures, you're likely not going to succeed in a business capacity, because people will not want to work with you. if you're always passing the blame and you're not being a responsible leader type of person. So make sure that you do what it takes if you're going to come into this business. If you're not, don't do it. Do something else. Become an employee. It's nothing wrong with that. But this business takes a level of responsibility and personal discipline that you just won't find with a lot of other job opportunities. So that's the cons on the list. Again, expect long work hours, high failure rate, watch out for MLM cultures, poor training frequency, and self-responsibility with the buck stopping with you. I hope I either talked you into selling insurance or talked you out. This business can be wonderful for the right agent and an absolute disaster for many people, probably for most. So if you want to learn more about the insurance business, check out my YouTube channel more in depth. I usually do videos like this a couple of times a day. You can reach me directly. I do reply to my own emails. And if you go to davidduford.com, click the contact button, send me a message if you've got a question about joining my agency, you want to learn more about the business. Even if you don't work with me, I'm happy to answer your questions. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.